What's up, guys? I know it's been a long time since we've posted anything on this channel. We are going to take it from a fresh new start and show some of the projects that we are building here in the shop and maintaining some of the current projects. Like right here, we got this old Chevy truck with an old school Hemi in it, doing a tube chassis. We're going to be putting a cage in that soon. We've got a 1974 Corvette Stingray, full wide body. Built the molds for the flares on that. It's got a ZZ4 small block. Ken Bob over there getting some of the parts ready. For today's video, we are going to be tearing down the V8 Porsche 935 to put a new clutch in it. So we're putting a new clutch and flywheel in it because we're headed to SEMA here in about 2 months. Super excited about that, but I've ordered a 5-speed sequential transaxle for it, and we're going to go full new clutch setup once that comes in, but I don't have it yet, and I probably won't have it for another 6 or 7 months. But for now, we're going to do this to get it temporarily driving better. We're going to talk about the car a little bit, and I'll show you guys some of the stuff that I did do. I really wished I would have made videos of the full build, which I actually did film quite a bit of it, and then I stopped partway through. It was really hard to build something and film it when I just wanted to get it done because I was super excited about it. So these are center lock wheels from Image. What is it? Image Wheels. They're based out of the UK. Super happy with the fitment. The quality of them was great. Really easy company to work with. They'll do full custom anything you want for the back spacing, wheel lips, front and rear. The centers are full custom to whatever offset they need to be. Center bore, bolt pattern, anything you want, they'll make it. I swear it does not leak oil. No, it actually used to leak a lot worse. So a lot of you guys don't know, this actually does have a small block Chev in it, and we're talking the old school small block. It's not an LS, and it is mated to a factory Porsche 915 transaxle. Don't ask me how it holds the torque that this motor puts out, but it does. Anyways, I also don't really trust it. That's why we're gonna swap out the transaxle. It's DMA Racing Gears is where we ordered it from. Part of the reason why this thing doesn't sound like a V8 all the way is because we built 180 headers for it. Basically, it takes the center tubes and they cross over the motor from both sides. They cross to the opposite side. So that gives it a firing order, like it's going back and forth, more like a flat 6-cylinder, and then being paired up with the turbos helps it sound almost identical to a 935 K3 race car from the early 80s or late 70s. So we're running full Holley EFI on this setup. We've got the Holley dash. I figured I'd fire it up for you guys so you can hear it, because it'll be a little bit before we're driving it in this video once we get the clutch in it, and then we'll go for a test drive. Key to make sure it's in neutral. Dash is pretty awesome because you can monitor everything while you're doing it. We'll go ahead and pull the deck lid off. When I was coming up with the turbo setup on this, it was really hard to find any information on you know, how the oil comes out here and with check valves and with the pumps, because I'm pumping the oil out of the bottoms of the turbos, which isn't extremely common with most vehicles. But if you guys have any questions at all, feel free to reach out, send us a message on here, and I'll get back to you the best I can with the knowledge that I do have with it, which isn't a whole lot, but I did figure out how to make this thing work good enough. I drive it on the street. I've been in traffic in 100-degree weather. I've never had any overheating issues other than on the track once, which we're gonna address that and try to make things a little bit better. Really the big thing is just get out there and do it, start building stuff. You'll be modifying it over and over until you get it right, and that's just kind of the way it is. And what I've learned from people who have built a lot of really cool stuff is that is the way it is. There's not a whole lot of information for anything super wacky. One issue I constantly have, I got oil inside of my intakes. It's not like a ton, but it's always there. It seems like no matter what I do, I've necked down the restrictor deal, whatever these things are. What are these things? I got these Racetronic somethings here. Yeah, it gives the motor a little how you do, and I got a Holley something or another there. No, none of this really matters. Basically, is what I'm saying is, I don't actually know what I'm doing. I figured out something. I'm doing it. That's what matters. Basically, everything you guys see online of people with like cars, I would say cool cars, but I'm not trying to come off like I'm saying I have a cool car, but behind the scenes, I don't think anybody knows what they're doing. Ken Bob, you know what you're doing?
No idea.
He is what we call like milking the process right now. He's just gonna sand these parts all day long when he should be doing something. I don't know, it needs done, whatever. If you guys know why this is doing that, maybe my turbos are wore out, even though they're probably don't even have 1,000 miles on them. Let me know, because I want to know how to fix that. And it seems like people that know things don't post it on the internet. These are just quarter turn Zeus fasteners. You just turn it a little bit, they pop right open like that. They're really handy for mounting fiberglass lightweight parts to a car and super quick to take off. Again, those are Zeus fasteners. I figured real quick we're gonna kind of go over what all these lines are because it does look super confusing. On this side of the back of the car, we have, this is a transmission pump, so that's gonna pump the lines through the cooler here to help keep that cool on, you know, hard track days. And on this side, similar setup, almost exactly the same kind of pump. This is what we're pumping from the scavenge tank underneath the turbos, and we're pumping that oil up through this. We've got an electric water pump here when we're pumping water clear to the front of the car. You can see the lines come all the way through here, through the radiator and back. And then we have the overflow water tank up here as well, mostly because I didn't have any room in the back of the car for that. Basically, the Holley fuel pump is pumping fuel through the surge tank right back into the main cell. And then the surge tank is giving us constant fuel delivery to the motor. The other tank right there is a fraud. It hasn't been set up for anything yet. Originally, I was gonna do methanol with that, but I haven't got that far. And these are oil breather lines going to the catch can, which currently I have that draining right back into the turbo sump tank. I know that's not the way you should do that. I was at the track a little while back and I was having a lot of issues pumping oil out the filter here. And I figured a quick fix would be to just put it right back in here. The oil didn't look bad. It wasn't like it was all fizzly, white, whatever. It was clean oil, so I don't really care. Or maybe that's what's contributing to wrecking my turbos and putting oil in there. We got the individual coil packs from MSD, which is owned by Holley. It's all Holley throttle body. We got 1050 injectors from Injector Dynamics. The plan in the future is to actually build this thing out of aluminum to drop some weight on it, because right now it's actually pretty heavy. Yeah, I'd honestly say this thing weighs like 25 pounds. Now we're just down to unhooking some oil lines from the motor, and then we're going to unhook the rest of the electrical, which isn't very much, and then we're going to be ready to actually pull the motor out of it. And we're also going to do an oil change. I was having a real problem with my axles coming loose, so I actually I found that my axles were wore out, so they would actually vibrate up and down, causing the bolts to get loose, and I ended up putting these in there. I paint pinned them all, and which is pretty exciting because I think the problem's solved. The paint pin's a good indicator to show that they haven't moved. Definitely recommend that if you have that problem. We've got everything all unhooked now. The wiring and stuff, there's a lot of it, way too much of it, a tremendous amount of it. We just got to take the last two bolts out here and there, and the motor should pretty much fall out. You got the floor jack on the front of it. Yeah, once you have tension on that, we'll roll this forward just a little bit. And that's it. So the big thing here from here is we're gonna lower the back of the motor. Okay, the motor is successfully out. That did not go as smooth as it normally does. The alternator wires are still hooked up, and the cherry picker chain slid over to one side. Other than that, it is out, nothing got damaged. We're gonna pull the trans off, and then we will send the flywheel off to get resurfaced or buy a new one, depending on how bad it is, if it needs it. Okay. Like what? What's so racing about it? That it makes it fucking clatter? Look at that. Got burns in there? I bet that's right. Like, I bet it when it clatters, it goes clack, 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 clack. It's been stupid. Well, I'm gonna remove the flywheel and go have that resurfaced. And I got a new pressure plate and a new clutch waiting.
Every year, rather. And
okay, we just got the flywheel resurfaced. I'm excited about that. I can actually just show up to this guy's house. He's got a shop here in his backyard and just hops right to it while I sit there and wait. I don't know that it even took us 15 or 20 minutes and only cost 45 bucks. So we've got the flywheel mounted back on the motor after getting machined. We got a fresh clutch here, and then we've got a fresh pressure plate. So we're gonna put this thing back together and go for a test drive. So we got the trans right through the hole, pretty much no problem. We're just got Ken Bob back here jacking up the back of the motor, and we're pretty good. Just gotta slide it forward a little bit. We'll get that bolted in. We got the motor bolted back in there. We just got a few oil lines to hook up, and then we're gonna bleed the water system here in just a minute. I gotta put the cool Cletus catch can on there. The bench is a mess, well aware of that. Cool thing about these catch cans is they're billet aluminum and made right here in the USA. I use a crescent wrench on the fittings because it seems to not mung them up so much. I've got the aluminum AN wrenches and they actually fit like crap, so they slip, versus these do not. The turbo feed we've got coming through this 40 PSI regulator, so we're not taking more than 40 to the turbos through a 4AN line. And then we've got these restrictors on here where it has to be making more than 10 PSI before oil will go to the turbos. So more than 10, less than 40, so we're not over oiling these. They go to a 10 AN line here into the sump tank, and then it is pumped with, we got the Earl's pump up there through Earl's Performance one-way check valve. That's keeping oil from coming back down through here and overfilling once the motor is shut off. Okay, so we're running an 8 AN fuel line coming into this rail here. It goes all the way through, around, comes over here, out, and then we're gonna run it straight into, we got an Aeromotive fuel pressure regulator here. Okay, we got everything hooked back up. All the electronics are hooked up. I haven't tidied up the wires yet. I wanna make sure the thing runs before we put the intercooler on it and also put coolant in it. Critical, make sure it's in neutral so we don't drive it off the lift. Still gonna put the clutch in just in case. So from here we've got the oil pump on, which is electronic, and the fuel pump. We got 43 PSI and it's ready. Battery's looking good. Everything's looking good so far. Let it run for a couple of minutes. Make sure everything's good. These are exhaust temperatures. We're idling pretty close to where I want to be. Not going to get my hopes up yet, but it is really nice when you can pull a motor out and put it back in and have it work just as good as it did when you pulled it. We've got the intercooler back on, all the piping's on tight. We're gonna throw the quarter panels and deck lid on it, and it is now dark, so we're gonna wait till tomorrow to go for a drive. Got the car outside. We got nice weather out here, which is super cool. We're gonna go on a test drive right now, and hopefully everything works good. See how clattery the clutch is. Hopefully not at all. While we were waiting for the weather to clear up, I ended up building some new windows for the doors. I didn't have enough rivets, so I'll get that all finished up, but these are pretty cool deals. They got the sliders in them. Pretty excited about that. That's an NRG quick release, and I really like it. Probably put it in neutral. I still need to hook all these gauges up, but I've got this dash from Holly, which is a lot better anyways. So far the clatter on that first takeoff's not bad at all. I still did it a little bit, but that's pretty expected given the type of clutch it is. Can't see out my windows very well to know if anybody's coming, but gonna make this a short test drive just because I want to get back, make sure there's no oil leaks, no fuel leaks, no water leaks. I gotta spend quite a bit of time breaking the clutch in before we go and hot rod it. Sequential from DMA Racing Gears. Should have that in about 3 more months. We'll get this thing all chopped up, put it in there, and we're going to take this thing to the track and we're going to thrash on this thing. The goal is to do wheelies, drift wheelies, whatever we got to do. Okay, we're back from that first little test drive. No leaks that I can see yet. We're gonna go ahead and take it on a little bit of a cruise. Just take it around the block. Not that I live on a block or anything that's even close to a block, but more like a worm. Say the clutch replacement was a success. I got the measurements I needed to send to DMA. My taillights are on. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button.